Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily podcast. Now, after Ansell's latest connected workplace solutions brand, Inteliforz, recently appeared on my radar, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to invite them on and talk about how technology can improve health and safety. So, Director of Ansell Inteliforz, Beemal Vasani, believes that a company's safety program is a direct reflection of its workplace culture. So I invited him on the podcast to learn more about how investing in safety solutions technology and employment engagement tools can encourage safer workplaces, help speed up training, and ultimately reduce on-site injuries that are common, especially when it comes to seasonal hires, for example. And according to National Safety Council, I think for every $1 invested in injury prevention, it returns between $2 and $6. So today we're going to discuss how organisations can better equip their staff through wearable and connected technology, and technology that allows their voices to be heard and encourage communication between teams and provides data and insights to reduce those workplace injuries. In addition to how wearable technology can act as the eyes and ears of employees and communication platforms and apps and the role that they play. And what does that look like? Well, buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to the US, where Beemal is waiting to share his story and the impact that technology is having on health and safety. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Thanks for having me, Neil. Really appreciate it. I lead the commercial strategy for Ansell Inteliforz, our business within the Americas. Been in the business development and marketing functions for the past 20 plus years in both consumer packaged goods as well as the safety industry now.
Fantastic. And before you came on, I was doing a bit of research on you guys and the industry that you're in, and I quickly learned that warehouse workers in New York, Illinois, California, and other states are all beginning to speak up, because recently workers in Illinois, a regional shipping hub, protested against usually high rates and poor safety protocols amid other issues, right on the heels of workers in Staten Island advocating for the same. So yes, I'm talking to you from the UK today, but there seems to be something happening over there. So can you set the scene and tell me more about what you're seeing in the US?
Yeah, I mean, employees out there, they really care about their workplace and their safety culture within it. They're choosing their place of work, how they will do their jobs based on their employer's safety culture, as well as how they treat their themselves on a daily basis. Keeping their best interest at heart is really what they're looking for, and how they're seeing it. Within what we're seeing in North America, at least, is that as the companies that are out there are taking care of their workers more and more, and putting what they call their best asset at the forefront of all their decisions to really foster that culture of safety, health, and wellness, those are places that people want to work at. And that's what these folks are asking for at the end of the day.
And from the outside looking in, it does appear to me that there's almost a demand for innovation in what many would say is a historically traditional workplace. So can you tell me more about that, and also expand on your belief that the answer could be wearable technology and real-time alerts to connect and protect workers?
The business world's changed significantly over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So many decisions that were made previously were always made on gut feel, or by the managers who knew the most because they've been there the longest, and really, or just sitting back and saying, this is how we've always done everything. And I think there's been a change now. Everybody's looking for ways to do things better, with more understanding. So now we have technology out there that provides really specific data points to enable folks to make better decisions. And then accelerating that is the ability to have those pieces of data real time. And really how you do this is connecting those frontline workers within the job tasks that they're doing, or within the machinery that they're operating on a daily basis, to get that feedback between the worker and the operations that are being done by that factory.
And I guess a question I've got to ask here is, what would you say to people listening who may have heard of inappropriate use of trackers or wearables in, let's say, a famous e-commerce store's warehouse, for example, who might think that trackables could actually make things worse despite good intentions? And how can businesses avoid falling into traps like that?
Yeah, I think it goes back to having the safety culture and centering everything you do around the employee. And then building upon that is really communicating the data that you're getting. If all you do is get that data, collect it, and kind of hide it behind closed doors, those frontline workers will question how that data is being used and what it's being used for. If you bring this at the forefront and really showcase that what you're trying to do is provide them with a better workplace, them with more safety and better decisions that you can make, I think those frontline workers, they look for this type of technology. They're trying to make sure that they're healthier and happier at work. And really, if you look at it, Neil, on a daily basis, they're using this technology at home. I mean, within the US here, everybody's got some sort of smart technology or device like a thermostat. And that thermostat gives them knowledge, right, of how to control the temperature within their house and or their dwelling, and how much money they're saving, or how much more productive their furnace or their air conditioner is at that time period. So I think the previous mistrust or the previous issues that were there with connected technology is really falling away.
And one of the things that stood out for me about what you guys are doing here is your approach to enhance human well-being with tech and wearables. I've heard a lot in the past about increasing productivity, etc., and that's where it can get quite a thorny issue. But this approach to enhance human well-being is what caught my attention. So can you expand on that?
Yeah, so let me give you an example of something that has plagued the industrial atmosphere for many, many years. Musculoskeletal disorders is something that has been a problem for the last 4 or 5 decades with repetitive tasks that people are doing within their job and workplace. Many people have tried to solve this problem, and many people have looked at ways to mitigate the risks that are associated to it. What we're seeing now is using connected technology. You can actually measure a person's movement in their hand and wrist area, for example. And that is one of the most intricate joints that are within the human body. That technology can then predict if the work that the person is doing puts them at risk for that musculoskeletal disorder. Historically, what we've seen is always a reactive way of looking at MSDs, the acronym that musculoskeletal disorders are called, and it's been reactive in terms of fixing the problem after it's already happened. What technology can do to really enhance the human well-being is be proactive. So figure out what are the different areas that you can mitigate that risk and then make those changes.
And just to bring to life everything that we're talking about here, do you have any use cases you could possibly share with me of just how wearable technology can act as the eyes and ears of employees who especially need coaching when staffing or training courses are too tight to ensure that right PPE is being used at the right time? Because I think most businesses go out there with the best intentions, but things do get missed. So it'd be great to bring to life with any examples or real world examples of how wearable tech is helping to solve that.
Yeah, if you look at some of the technology that's out there, you can have the technology interact with the PPE that they're wearing, and then providing proximity locations through beacons or RFID technology that shows where they are in a facility. So, for example, they may be in a situation where they need a higher level of ear protection or cut resistance in their gloves when they go into a specific area. Previously, you just have to trust that people are wearing the right product. Now, as they go into that area, you can actually have a prompt that comes up that says, "Are you wearing the correct PPE?" And then also have it scan that PPE to make sure it is the right level of protection that they've got. We continue to see how that can really help people on their personal protection side. I think the other side of how the technology can really impact us right now is we're experiencing a generational shift within the workforce. So as new employees are coming and going and changing jobs on a regular basis, many of the functions out there like HR and IT are having challenges in just keeping up with the training that's required. And sometimes due to unforeseen circumstances, we have people doing tasks that they really haven't been fully trained on, or that they may have done a while ago and are looking at doing it again. I'll give you an example of like a forklift, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I've used a forklift, say a month and a half ago. What now the technology allows them to do is to have just-in-time information. So imagine having an FAQ or a video that allows them to see some of the do's and don'ts of driving a forklift for those newer employees that have come on, to keep reminding them, or even in some cases, provide them with a checklist to make sure that you're seeing if there's any challenges that are happening within that machinery over a period of time. So again, it's this wearable technology it can really help with providing that training without having somebody standing over their shoulder.
I just wanted to give a quick mention to our sponsors, because this month the podcast is brought to you by Flipper, which is the #1 marketplace to buy and sell online businesses and startups. So, do you run your own online business? And have you ever considered selling your website, your store, your tech, or your app? Because with world-class combined matching technology, dedicated brokers and end-to-end services, all at the most efficient price, Flipper is making it simple to sell your online business. So to get a free valuation, visit my friends at flipper.com/techtalks, where each month thousands of online business owners exit with Flipper. Again, visit flipper.com/techtalks. Now, in a former life, I did used to work in IT, and on occasion I did have to create risk assessments, etc. And one of the things I learned from my time there and dabbling with health and safety is before an accident occurs, there are very often several near misses that, if reported, could have completely prevented an accident from ever occurring. So with that in mind, can you expand on how communication platforms or apps can actually help workers easily identify and report unsafe conditions and provide real-time feedback? Because that seems to be a real opportunity there to reduce accidents too, right?
Imagine how a factory worker would see a trip hazard in front of them. Maybe it's a cord, or it's something that's awry on a piece of metal. Previously, they'd have to somehow tell somebody on the shop floor, or write out some sort of a document that says that there's this problem, and it would take several weeks for something to get done and to come through. And you're right, the near misses, imagine of the hundreds of people that walk by that on a daily basis that may either trip and fall or have some sort of issue there. What we can do now is we can provide a closed loop or a continuous loop system that allows them to escalate those types of safety issues that they see within the workplace. So I'm taking a picture of a trip hazard, for example, and that being funneled through to the entire organization. Not only is that person becoming part of the safety culture, which is tremendously important for any business that's out there, but it also escalates and provides accountability throughout the organization to make sure that those hazards are being taken care of, those risks are being mitigated on a daily basis. And again, it's the digital nature of it doesn't allow for a shuffling of paper, we'll call it, or even something to get lost in translation. Everything's immediately in front of the people that are involved and the stakeholders that need to take care of that hazard.
And of course, there's so much uncertainty in the world at the moment, especially around the economy. And many businesses are expected to do more with less. And every new tech project will be judged on the things like the ROI and the value that new project will deliver. So with that in mind, what would you say is the ROI of investing in technology like this?
So, I mean, I think I'm gonna throw a couple of numbers out at you. First is you can start to reduce your safety incidents by 85% with items like this, or even improve your employee turnover rate. Those are hard cost savings that can be taken to the bottom line. On top of things like injury reduction of MSDs, or even removing the manual process associated to having paper. There was one facility that I visited where by digitizing their checklists, their daily safety checklists, as well as their operations checklist, you were able to remove 7 tons of paper out of one facility. There's a cost associated to that paper, but then there's also the soft cost savings that are involved here. So how the employee turnover is reduced, you don't see it immediately in your bottom line, but you see it in the reduced cost behind training that's required, or investment into new hire development, or even job fairs and people being found for those roles. I think, as you look at the ROI, you're quickly able to take the data and understand how it will affect both your hard cost savings as well as your soft cost savings.
Fantastic. And obviously we're at the beginning of a new year. I appreciate you probably can't share too much, but is there anything you can share about what your big focus is going to be this year?
Yeah, I think it's all about educating the business leaders within the operation, IT, and safety areas on how a connected workforce will make their most important asset, their people, safer, happier, more productive with the help of Ansell's Inteliforz. We recently signed a pledge with the National Safety Council here in the US to reduce MSDs by 25% before the year 2025. So really helping our pledge partners and getting other people to sign up is a big focus area for us. Personally, I think improving my golf game is the next thing that I need to work on.
Some of the biggest names in VC funding and tech have either been guests or listened to this podcast, and you've spent a bit of time chatting to me today. I'm going to see if there's something we can do for you. So is that a person that you'd love to have a private breakfast or lunch with, and why? And he or she might just hear this, and we'll send it out there and see if we can make something happen.
Yeah, it would be absolutely a dream to have dinner with Chef David Chang. He is somebody that I have an affinity of my love of food with, but also the innovation that he's created within the restaurant category, and really understanding the composition of how food and ingredients interact with each other, but also the trends within the industry at the forefront. And what's most interesting is how he's recently re-engineered his model of a restaurant, and during COVID really made him think beyond his local patrons that were in his marketplace to expand the geography, kind of how we look at startup and technology. And if you think about how incredibly inventive he is, imagine taking the simplest item that you can imagine, a meal, something that we do, most likely 3 times a day, and bringing the technology innovation to it, both from a creation and delivery standpoint, just incredibly impressive, and somebody that I would love to spend some time with.
Awesome answer. Well, we'll put that out there into the ether. Let's see what we can manifest together. But before I let you go, for anyone listening that just like to find out more information about anything we talked about today, or maybe just contact your team, what's the best starting point?
You can go to AnsellInteliforz.com. And connect us that way, or of course on LinkedIn. You can find myself, Beemal Vasani, and would love to chat further on connected technology and how we can help people within the industrial and healthcare areas.
Well, I always say on every episode of this podcast that technology works best when it brings people together. But what I love about what you're doing here is this belief that a company's safety program is actually a direct reflection of its workplace culture, and investing in things like safety solutions and employee engagement tools can actually not only encourage safer workplaces, but also help speed up training and reduce on-site injuries too. So important. We don't get to talk about this stuff enough. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing that with me today.
I appreciate it, Neil, and thanks for providing a platform for this very important topic. I think it is at the forefront of most CEOs. If you look at Connected technology, it's number 3 on the CEO's list of priorities over the next several years.
There's a great stat mentioned in the interview there that workplaces using Inteliforz and the technology and wearables, etc., have seen an 85% reduction in recordable safety incidents and 57% improvement in employee turnover rates. But I'm curious, wherever you're listening and wherever you're working in the world, how are you leveraging technology to reduce safety incidents in the workplace and improve health and safety overall? I'd love to hear from you. You've heard from me today, you've heard from Beemal, but now I want to hear from you. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram @NeilC.Hughes. I'd love to hear what you're doing about this and where technology is working and where it might not be working so well. I want to hear all sides of the story. But that's it for today, so just a big thank you for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.